Look for partly cloudy skies today with a high near 60. Tonight, clear with a low around 39. And Saturday, sunny with a high around 64. Celebrate Independent Bookstore Day this Saturday at Next Chapter Booksellers, where the Twin Cities Bookstore Passport is in full swing. Get stamped at Next Chapter Booksellers and join 36 other stores offering prizes, discounts, and more. Find details at nextchapterbooksellers.com. Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting live on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota. In the evenings on WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk. And in the nighttime hours, 1150 AM, KKNW in Seattle. It is the Matt McNeil Show for your Friday. Matt, Brett here. I'm bringing this guy in here for a second there. Let me know if I get your headset turned on correctly there. Can you hear me? Are you there? No. There. No, none of them working. There. Okay, there we go. Greg Bakken is kind enough to join us now. For the people in Chicago and Seattle, Greg hosts our show here at 10 o'clock, Ghost Box Radio, Ghost, Sasquatch, Aliens. It is the best bowling party you'll ever be to. He is kind enough to join me today because here is the thing I first wanted to talk about with anything today. TV has sucked, and now all of a sudden TV is great again. Okay. I got Andor now back, which is good. I've got The Last of Us new season, which, okay, there's the feel-good hit of the year. But the main reason I'm bringing you in here right now, because you and I share a common bond for a certain TV show. Doctor Who, the second season with the current Doctor is now playing right now. These first two episodes are the most fun I've had on that show. Okay, Capaldi's third season was good. But this might be Matt Smith's second season. It's been that long since they've had two episodes which have been outstanding.
100%. And I was thinking about that when I was watching Lux on Saturday, the second episode, the animation. It's fun. It just, like you said, it makes you feel good. It's like Doctor Who is back.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay. And all right. And I will say this too. They try too much, I think.
Yes.
To create David Tennant and Billie Piper, Rose and the Doctor, which we should remember wasn't the original combination. It was Christopher Eccleston and Rose Tyler. And then it always seems to work better when you don't try. You just kind of have this established character and someone comes on in. And I got to tell you, the first episode this year when she said, "It's the planet of the incels," I swear to God, I almost fell out of my chair. Oh my gosh, was that good? It's hard because I don't have a lot of time, and now it's like you're inundating me. I still haven't finished season 2 of Rings of Power, for God's sakes. It's nice to see. We're Doctor Who fans. I don't care. This is my show. It's. I'm glad to see that this show, after when's the 60th come up here?
That was 2 years ago.
60th, that was 2 years ago.
Yep.
So it's been on for so long. It just is. I'm just so glad. I'm so glad that it continues to. It was starting to look a little rough at times.
Yep.
But now this is as good as it's been in a long time.
And one thing I wanted to kind of point out about, especially Lux, because Doctor Who is...
And Lux, once again, that's the second episode of this season. It's on Disney here in the United States, BBC, if you're listening overseas.
And you can, the second season, the episode takes place, I think, Miami, Florida.
1952, Miami, Florida.
And Doctor Who's never shied away from social stances or anything. But the way that they talked about segregation on Saturday's episode, to me, was absolutely perfect in the sense that we acknowledge that it happened, and that needs to be acknowledged. It shouldn't be forgotten.
Well, and when he tells Belinda, and they're in the diner, and just once again, we're not ruining anything. He tells Belinda in the diner, it's like, okay, this is not a fight you're going to win. This is okay. This is not a fight you're going to win. And I think that was kind of one of those things where it's just, there are some things you can do and some things you can't. And like I said, I think they balance that beam nicely.
Totally.
They balance that beam nicely.
Totally.
This is how many episodes I got this season?
8 again.
All right, so it's this is I'm hoping I just if this continues like this, please just bring those two back.
Yep.
Another season, easy.
Right. And I love it. I have a ritual that I hang out with friends Saturday. We're gonna watch it. We've been doing that ever since last year. I love it. It's just great.
Well, and the episode, the salute to the fans in Lux, was one of the best meta moments any sci-fi has ever done, and it was just so they did it kind of so perfectly too.
They did. Do you? I don't know how much time I have because I wanted to quickly explain why there's people who didn't like it and they got upset. But here's the thing about it: these people, they were created out of Lux, and they were smart enough because they knew the Doctor to outsmart Lux.
Yes,
and that was fantastic.
It was okay. So yes, we are being nerdy. I am a Doctor Who fan. Deal with it. But it's a good season. Oh, okay. Have you watched Last of Us? Any of that yet?
No, I have not.
Okay. Yeah. Feel good hit. All right.
That's what I hear. Everybody wins in that one.
In this presidential world we live in right now, it's the smile file at this point. And then Andor, have you caught any of the first 3 episodes of that one? That's now on Disney too.
Of the second season?
Yeah.
Not the second season.
I gotta find time.
That's what I hear. Yeah. I mean, it's there's been so much hit and miss with Star Wars with Disney that I've been little,
Andor did it right the first time, and there's, I mean, it's like the Marvel movies, the superhero movies, the comic book movies. Some of the TV shows, some of them great. But this is Andor. They did it right, and I think that they've put a lot of money into this and say we need to do more like this, and kind of look at it like that.
Yeah, they have a whole universe, and they're finally getting it right with that one.
All right, so for everyone out there, before I have to jettison you here, of course, Ghostbox Radio, and if you are not listening in Minneapolis, St. Paul, you can podcast it on all your favorite podcast sites. Ghostbox Radio, it airs at 10 p.m. Central Time. Anything going on tonight?
Tonight's Casual Friday, but can I quickly highlight next week? We're doing verified near-death experiences, and it's phenomenal.
Really?
Yes. That'll be Tuesday night.
Near-death experiences.
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of think this is a near-death experience for me at the moment, but
no. I'm not that ugly, for God's sakes.
Tunnel vision right now.
All right. Watch Doctor Who. All right, just watch. It's the first 2 episodes of the season have been phenomenal, and so thank you, Greg. I appreciate
you very
it.
Much.
There you go. You see, we don't have to wallow constantly in the godforsaken hell pit of dumpster fires that is the Trump administration. I can find some joy and happiness in Doctor Who every once in a while.
And we do occasionally need that. There's only so much you can talk about with what's bad in the news right now.
I had coffee today with a good friend of mine named Gina. We sat down. I was sitting and talking. And it was, of course, about 40 minutes of, ugh. And then we started talking about art. And I talked about, and I encourage her to head down to our friends in Chicago, your art museum down there. Magnifique. It is as brilliant as they come. And we talked about our favorite artists and why the Chicago Museum of Art is so wonderful. Seattle, of course, got a great art museum out there. MSP's got 2. Well, actually, they got 5 here in town that are really good. So I would highly encourage you to come into town and catch those. But yeah, it is really, you have to kind of get away from this stuff. And as I mentioned Friday, it doesn't mean you ignore it. It doesn't mean you ignore the world that's out there. But if all we do is sit here and, rage hate on everything, it makes you Roseanne Barr. Okay. It makes you MAGA. And part of my fight is also the fight to remember why I'm fighting. And yeah, I don't want Donald Trump to come on in there and say, oh, The Last of Us, or Doctor Who, or Andor season 2. That's woke. That's woke. And it gets shut down. And watch some corporate wuss take it down. No, I got to remember, we got to remember the good things out there. So I'm appreciating this stuff as it goes. And yeah, that was a little out of left field, but hey, considering the Trump administration arrested a judge today Oy. All right. See, so now you understand. Now you understand. Today, I'm sitting there. I'm having my coffee with Gina. We're having a great time. And then a judge gets arrested because the judge wasn't MAGA enough for them. Hannah Duggan, the Milwaukee County Circuit Court judge, was arrested by the FBI on Friday for allegedly trying to help an undocumented defendant avoid arrest. The big picture here is that the Wisconsin judge's arrest comes as the Trump administration ramps up its battle against the judicial branch and tests its executive power to enforce the president's immigration policies. Duggan, who has served nearly a decade on the court, was arrested on charges of obstructing or impeding the proceeding before the Department of Agency of the U.S. within concealing of an individual to prevent the discovery or arrest per the criminal complaint. She appeared briefly in federal court on Friday before, following her arrest, was released from custody, according to the Associated Press. Judge Duggan, who wholeheartedly regrets and protests her arrest, it was not made in the interest of public safety, her lawyer said to the AP. Her next appearance is on May 15th. So Duggan is accused of trying to help an undocumented immigrant scheduled to appear in her courtroom to avoid arrest by immigration officials. We believe Judge Duggan intentionally misdirected federal agents away from the subject to be arrested at her courthouse, said Eduardo Flores Ruiz was the suspect, of allowing the subject, an illegal alien, to evade arrest, said FBI Director Kash Patel on Friday. Flores Ruiz is currently in FBI custody. Flores Ruiz was scheduled for a hearing on April 18th in a criminal case in Duggan's courtroom. The complaint states ICE agents went to the courthouse with an administrative arrest warrant and planned to take him into custody in a public area outside the courtroom after his appearance before the judge. When Duggan learned ICE agents had come to the administrative warrant rather than a judicial warrant, she told them to go speak with the chief judge per the complaint. According to the time, at that time, Duggan allegedly took Flores Ruiz through a juror door and out the courtroom. Witnesses, according to the FBI complaint. Agents later arrested Flores Ruiz outside the courtroom. Now, I'm going to take a quick moment here to talk about this because I read the complaint. This complaint is absolute garbage for this reason. What she said was, I want you to go talk to the chief judge. And the chief judge was wanting to talk to them. This wasn't some, the chief judge isn't in, oopsie. No, the chief judge was on the phone in his office wanting to talk to them because they wanted to establish rules about where these ICE Gestapo thugs could actually arrest these people. That's what it was. They were hammering out that detail. I think Duggan did the right thing. What she did was seem to be saying, well, I don't know where these people can arrest them, so I'm going to take them out this door to prevent myself from being culpable. And so she did. What it seems like ICE is upset about is that the judge didn't grab the defendant by the nape of the neck and throw him out the door right into the hands of ICE. And that's not the judge's job. We'll get back to that, plus some more reaction on this. It is the Matt McNeil Show here.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
Step into a world of financial empowerment with the Do Different Better show. I'll be your host, Elaine Rasmussen. Join me Sundays at noon on AM 950 as we do a deep dive into wealth education with topics like investing, real estate, and entrepreneurship. No nonsense, tell it like it is, keeping it 100 for everyday people like you. Tune in to get practical insights to rewrite your financial future. So each Sunday at noon, let's do different better. You can hear Do Different Better anytime on your favorite app. Learn more about me at socialimpactnow.com.
Hi, I'm Peter Solak.
And I'm Adam Ostrowski.
We are here at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces to talk about outdoor fires. Sitting around a fire is the oldest, most basic form of human activity.
What's new is in the way fire is burned. We can show you how to burn cleaner with a lot less smoke.
The radiant heat and light from an open fire is unmatched. It kindles our spirits and connects us to the outdoors. And now it's easier to experience and enjoy.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces sells and installs wood and gas burning fire pits and fireplaces. Let us help you experience an outdoor fire without all the smoke.
Come see the many ways you can enjoy a fire outdoors.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces has over 35 working wood and gas units on display at the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis. More information at woodlandstoves.com. Find the fire that works for you. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our listeners. How important are business values to you? When you need high-quality digital print, it matters who you work with. You see, Minuteman Uptown is unique. We're one of the only union print shops in Minnesota providing our team with living wages and benefits. We believe in second chances for justice-impacted individuals who want to contribute to the community, and we are active in local issues. We've been in the streets standing up for racial, social, and economic justice. At Minuteman Uptown, our mission is to connect all communities through technology-driven print solutions. An example of that mission is when I moved Minuteman Uptown to North Minneapolis. We're invested in this local community, and we help small businesses and local organizations throughout the Twin Cities reach their audiences. Reach out to Minuteman Uptown and partner with a printer that shares your values. Call us today at 612-870-0777 or visit us at mpuptown.com. That's mpuptown.com.
I've got mysterious stranger starred in my contact list.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. So once again, this judge basically, and they go through the whole thing. If you read the arrest warrant, basically, first of all, talk about a bunch of tools that are we were just nobly trying to do our job, you know? But even they, through this, acknowledge, well, I don't think they acknowledge it intentionally, but they clearly set a clear defense for the judge. They go there, they're sitting there, they're waiting to arrest this person. The judge finds out they're there. I'm going to presume the judge is like, well, can they do this? Where can they arrest this person? She goes on out in her judge's robes, takes these undercover cops, the undercover ICE agents. They're not even cops. They're basically, Trump's Gestapo. Takes them, says, you need to talk to the chief judge here because we're going to set rules about where you guys can arrest these people. So he takes them over there. She goes back to her courtroom. She hasn't gotten any kind of official guidance. So she just basically says, you know what? You guys want to leave through this door? You go ahead and leave through this door. And that is the crime they say she thinks. Well, they first of all try to make it into this whole, well, she diverted our people. No, the chief judge was there on the phone wanting to talk to the ICE agents. So this wasn't a ruse. This is just this administration trying to bully these judges by basically saying, unless you grab that defendant by the nape of the neck and punch him a few times in the face, then kick open your courtroom door and throw him at the ICE agents, that you are somehow complicit in not trying to arrest them. These are horrible people. Pam Bondi, ICE, they're horrible people. And I know that they're sitting there and acting as if we're just doing our... No, you are horrible people. And when you're getting to the point where you're actively trying to arrest a judge who, even by your own affidavit, clearly has an out there that wasn't nefarious in any capacity, you basically say that's not good enough. I mean, you guys, you were literally the Scarecrow in The Dark Knight Rises. You are just making this up as you go. And that if someone disagrees with you, you're going to just take them out to the frozen river and have them drowned. I mean, this is some dangerous ass crap. And once again, we have horrible crimes going on in this country. They don't care. Attorney General Pam Bondi promised on Friday prosecution of judiciary members who crossed the Trump administration. It represents an escalation of the Trump administration's ongoing fight with courts. Bondi's threat comes on the heels of the FBI arrest of Hannah Dugan, the Milwaukee County Circuit Court judge, on charges of obstruction of immigration arrest operation. Bondi said that the Trump administration will target judges who oppose the president's growing immigration crackdown. You cannot even oppose it. That they basically, okay, so if I am walking down the street, okay, and I open a door, I'm just walking out of a store, and some guy comes running past me, and I just happen to be holding the door when they come running past me, and I let it go, and then all of a sudden see some cops running after them, and the cops basically then arrest me, and they say, well, you aided and abetted. No, I didn't. I was just walking out the door. I wasn't an accomplice. That's authoritarian regime crap. That is third world dictator crap. And that's all this is right now. This is, and where in the hell is the Republican Party of this country? Where in the hell are they? Where they're sitting there. If this was a Democrat, imagine a Democratic president's AG and FBI arresting one of those judges down in Oklahoma or Texas who puts out those fraudulent rulings to say mifepristone ain't legal in my mind, and proudly say, I'm just making this up as I go. Let's say they arrested them. Every single Republican would be red-veined, beat red face, hammering on any podium they could find about how dare this president cross that judicial line. This judge, they don't care. Well, they'll care in May of next year. In May of next year, when their reelection is up, gee willikers, you know I'm a year and a half late, but I can't tell you how disappointed I was about Trump arresting that judge. Now that that judge has been deported down to El Salvador, I wouldn't have done that. You see, I'm standing up to Donald Trump right now. Please. So Bondi and Kash Patel, and they're, by the way, once again, looking at their argument, they're going to get laughed out of court because their argument is that basically the judge has to, I guess, stop the courtroom and hold the person down until the ICE agents can come in there. Duggan's arrest shows that Trump is going to use every weapon at his disposal to enforce his anti-immigration agenda, said Pace University law professor Bennett Gershman. It's a federal crime to obstruct or interfere with immigration officials making arrest. But, so Duggan's indictment doesn't set a special precedent, but it does show the invading courthouses, schools, probably even religious institutions as well to round up immigrants is on the table. Despite this is as well here. Where ICE agents in New Mexico judge and his wife are on suspicion of hiding an alleged Venezuelan gang member in their home on Friday. Despite the allegations and his March resignation, former Dona Ana County Magistrate Joel Cano and his wife have not been charged with any crimes as of right now. Because once again, it's not enough. You've got to blab. You got to blab. You got to hold them down and call in the ICE agents because that's the propaganda we need. Kash Patel, by the way, did something very interesting. He deleted a tweet that announced the arrest of the Wisconsin judge. This is the tweet. Just now, the FBI arrested Judge Hannah Dugan out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, on charges of obstruction after evidence of Judge Dugan obstructing an immigration case or operation last week. We believe Judge Dugan intentionally misdirected federal agents away from the subject to be arrested at the courthouse, allowing the subject to evade arrest. Many people also, I think it's that Kash Patel is saying she intentionally did so, and he can't say that because the judge did take them to the Chief Justice's office. The Chief Judge there basically was on the phone wanting to talk to them. So this was not an intentional misdirection. And I don't blame her. If I haven't heard back from that Chief Judge about what the options are, here you guys can leave through the jury room. So there you go. Anytime the Supreme Court, I guess we are at the point now where is the Supreme Court just going to basically cave and roll over and say, yep, the abuse of a judge is perfectly fine. The abuse of these people, if you just don't like what they're doing, you can arrest a judge at any point until you find a judge that's going to be right-wing enough for you. And by the way, I should mention this judge has indeed been elected twice to her seat. So this is not like someone appointed her. She's won public approval. And at this point, I don't think she's going to lose it ever again. We'll take a break, come back. It's the Matt McNeil Show on a Friday.
Skip ahead a month or two, and I thought I would.
Come on, you know it's true. Work is almost bearable when the Stephanie Miller Show is on. AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hey, it's Patrick. Spring showers may bring May flowers, but they also bring big savings with Zero Res. And right now, you can beat the spring cleaning rush with big savings and priority booking by calling our heroes at Zero Res. Zero Res removes winter's buildup and lingering odors, giving your home a fresh, spring-ready feel, preparing your home for the brighter days ahead. Just check out the almost 21,000 raving customer service reviews online with a 4.9 Google rating and see what all the hype is about. This month, get 3 rooms Zero Resified from Minnesota's #1 carpet cleaner starting at just $119 and take $75 off an air duct cleaning as well. You owe it to yourself and your family to breathe healthy, happy, and clean. Call Zero Res right now at 9520-RES or go online to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Spell it backward or forward, it's the same. Zero Res.
Hey, it's Freddie Bell, host of New Beginnings, designed for those of us more seasoned, I'll say, with informative talk on everything from health, finance, local and regional news, volunteerism, spirituality, and even a bit of humor tossed in. So if you're proud to be a more seasoned listener, tune in to New Beginnings Sunday afternoons at 1 right here on the Progressive Voice of Minnesota, AM 950.
Hello, I'm Todd Mickelson, host of a Satellite View podcast. It's hard to find clarity or focus here on the ground with the fire hose of issues and events. We go up high and look back on Earth from a satellite view, where we can gain our bearings and learn from the past to shoot for a better future. And have fun and laughs along the way. Go to am950radio.com, click the programs link, and find a satellite view with Todd Mickelson.
Some days I feel so down I can barely get out of bed. Is this depression?
I feel so tense and worried all the time. Is this anxiety?
Check up on your mental health. Take an online mental health screening at mentalhealthmn.org. Mental Health Minnesota has online mental health screenings, resources, support, and connections to treatment and crisis services. All anonymous, confidential, free of charge, and open 7 days a week. Mental Health Minnesota is here for you. mentalhealthmn.org. Sponsored by Mental Health Minnesota, the Minnesota Broadcasters Association, and this station.
This is AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies today with a high near 60. Tonight, clear with a low around 39. And Saturday, sunny with a high around 64. If you're craving delicious Chinese food, head to the Great Wall Restaurant for handmade dumplings, sesame chicken, and mushu pork with homemade Chinese pancakes. Located at 4515 France Avenue South. Learn more at greatwallrestaurant.us. That's greatwallrestaurant.us.
Broadcasting in Chicago, WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk. In Seattle, 1150 AM, KKNW, and in Minneapolis, St. Paul on AM 950. It is the Matt McNeil Show on your Friday. Nice to have you with us today. 952-946-6205. I got to read Miss Betty Bauer. She's got a good tweet here. Well, this is actually not a tweet. It's a blue sky. And once again, I want to ask the question for every Democrat out there, what the heck are you still doing on Twitter? Seriously, what are you doing on Twitter? Elon Musk just sued the state of Minnesota, which has a political deep fake law that says you cannot intentionally create a false video and post it in a political venue during political season. You cannot do that. And he's suing the state of Minnesota because he says, no, I want to be able to lie, I guess. That's the at least in the interpretation I get from his lawsuit. That we should be able to knowingly make a false video about somebody and present it as factual truth, and that he insists that his community notes section will take care of that. Why are you on Twitter? Why? Oh, I've got a big fall. Get rid of it. You're only enabling him at this point. Seriously, you are only enabling him. I had 5,000 followers on Twitter. Gone. I've got 13,000 on Blue Sky. All right. I've got over almost 2.5 times as many people on Blue Sky right now. So go to Blue Sky, and that's where you. This is where I got this Blue Sky. Miss Betty Bowders. Foreign countries begging Donald Trump for trade deals are the new strong men with tears in their eyes, calling him sir and flattering him. They also don't exist. I would agree with that. I think that a lot of his comments about these countries are begging us for trade deals, I don't think they are. I think one or two of them might be. But, if you're saying we've finally had success with Palau, the trade deal with Palau is going to be the biggest trade deal of all time. I don't think that's the case. Plus the fact that, once again, his approach is so stupid because, yeah, of course you have a trade deficit with some countries where there's a lot of people that don't have any money. And so you increasing imports there, that's a pointless thing. You have to factor other external circumstances into the equation. Looking at policy from the White House, Republicans in Congress have a difficult few months ahead as they want to look to broker agreement with their exceptionally narrow majority on policy issues that have already begun to divide centrists from far-right members of the party. The negotiations will be the first test of the sort for Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune, who weren't in the top post 8 years ago when the GOP passed its last reconciliation package. Tax law and funding cuts to Medicaid are the issues which most likely to prevent one big beautiful bill from moving through both chambers and reaching Trump's desk. Republican leaders will also need to be cautious as the package takes shape about what types of proposals their more vulnerable members vote on, especially if they hope to hold on to at least one chamber of Congress following next year's midterm elections. The swing district Republicans are in a tough spot because their voters do not want to see some kind of those tax cuts extended, but they don't want to. They might want to see some of those tax cuts extended, but they don't want to see it at the expense of programs like Medicaid, said Dr. Ben Summers, the professor of health and economics at Harvard. And so they're walking a tightrope, he said, and at least until there's a final bill on the floor, a lot of them are going to just keep pushing that final decision down the road and hope that something else happens and they don't have to make that tough call. This is actually what's dangerous. If these guys aren't saying anything now, I'll just go with some of the Minnesota Republicans. If a guy like Pete Stauber up in the Minnesota 8th District is quietly saying nothing about Medicaid, well, he becomes kind of a pushover at the end. Because at that point, it's you've not let your opinion be known. You've not let what you're not going to allow go through. And so all of a sudden it becomes you better do it or I'm going to primary you. The decision to bundle together the permanent extension of the 2017 tax law, which once again created a massive crater in our deficit, and the vast majority, like 96% of all the tax breaks, went to the wealthiest 1% of this country. Hundreds of billions in new spending on border security and defense as well. A rewrite of the nation's energy policy and spending cuts mean that centrist Republicans will have to cast one take it or leave it vote. Breaking up the sweeping package into two or more bills would have given at-risk Republicans the opportunity to vote for more tailored votes, but GOP leaders ultimately rejected the idea, a choice that will put moderates under increasing pressure as the legislation takes shape in the coming weeks. Democrats in both chambers are expected to unanimously oppose the package. Are expected to. Yeah, I mean, you say to yourself, well, this is going to be a nightmare. They're threatening a needle. Trust me, there's already... The reports are that there are sanctioned, for lack of a better word to say it, hit teams from the White House in Congress basically telling these people, if you don't go along with this, we will destroy you. And my gut feeling is this, is you're going to get all these Republicans voting for this and then immediately announcing they're going to retire. because they know that there's no chance in the planet they're going to have a chance at re-election, which does bring up, and Democrats, can I just be obvious here? You're going to have a messaging problem because you're going to have a bunch of Republicans who, if they're in a safe Republican district, will say, darn right, I would agree with that. But if they're not, they're going to be, hey, I'm the Republican and I got to tell you something. I wouldn't have voted for that bill, to try to create some sort of, hey, he went too far. Now, I'm not going to vote to undo it, but, I wouldn't have voted for that. I say this because the Democrats, once again, we need to have a reset, a reevaluation. And I want to take a quick moment here to ask you a question. And I want to ask everyone out there, I want you to think about, what exactly does the word bipartisan mean? When I say the word bipartisan, what does that mean? I imagine for most people, it would mean that it's somebody who votes with Republicans sometimes, votes with Democrats at other times, because there are times where there's his Republican buddies will vote with the Republicans, but sometimes they'll vote for the Democrats, right? That would be bipartisan. This idea that there is this middle of the road group of politicians who sometimes side with those Democrats, sometimes they side with the Republicans. Bipartisanship doesn't exist anymore. When was the last time you saw Republicans en masse stand up to the Republican leadership? I mean, the far right Republicans, when they're screaming about it's not far enough, I mean, that's one thing, but that's not bipartisan. They're extremists. I'm talking, we have all these so-called moderate Democrats who say, I look forward to working with these people on the other side of the aisle. The problem is, isn't that supposed to be a two-way street? Aren't the guys on the other side of the aisle occasionally aren't you occasionally taking the Democrats' bill over to them and saying, hey guys, you remember when I voted for this? Well, here's this Democratic bill. I think you guys should vote for this. That doesn't happen. The word bipartisan today basically is a myth. It's a word moderate Democrats throw about to hide their betrayal of the party as some sort of nobility. And it's not noble. It's just they basically have already determined on certain issues they're going to double cross the Democratic Party and they'll cross the aisle. And their idea of equity is, oh, sure, I'll vote to get rid of a third of the Medicaid. And in return, one of my biggest donors gets a name on the local post office. Wink. Like that's some sort of equity in return. When was the last time? In Minnesota, was this 2010? Might have been 2008. When Governor Tim Pawlenty, T-Paw, was in charge, the Republican, there were 4 Republicans that sided with the Democrats and overruled a veto on a budget bill. And even though those 4 Republicans had a very legitimate reason to do so, because there was funding for certain projects within their district, Tim Pawlenty and the Republicans ran those 4 Republicans out of the party because bipartisanship didn't work. And that was 2008, 2010, something like that. John McCain saved the Affordable Care Act, and he is despised within Republican circles now. There is no such thing as a bipartisan Republican. They're unified. Even the moderates are unified, whether that's by threats or by ideology, to stay with the Republican Party. That's why this whole notion of bipartisan is only it's a false notion. It's moderate Democrats who should not be part of the Democratic Party trying to make their betrayal of the Democratic Party noble and righteous. No, it's not. You just hand the power to the Republicans and act as if, look what I did. The hell with you. I'm tired of this from the moderates because I have watched in 2010 and 2016 and now in 2024, I have watched as the moderate Democrats have torpedoed this party for their own personal gain. And the years that we have had success have had nothing to do with moderating our policies. They have been times when we have embraced true democratic and in some cases progressive ideals. 2018, 2020, 2022. You didn't win those years because you were the most moderate Democratic Party you could be. You won those years because you found the democratic issues that you agreed with that resonated with the vast majority of this country. The years you fail, the moderate Democrats get you in there and they sit there and they say, well, you'd better be more moderate like me. And we get torpedoed. And then those arrogant jackasses sit there and say, you should have been more moderate. No. Moderate, bipartisan, you're the problem. The Democratic National Committee's dust up with Vice Chair David Hogg could be off-putting for the younger generation. Ken Martin on Thursday said the committee was issuing an ultimatum to Hogg to give up his purported threat to primary Democrats he deems ineffective or give up his leadership position. On the clip, Martin said, no DNC officer should ever attempt to influence an outcome of a primary election. Ha! I could say this as the guy, Ken Martin, was head of the DFL here in the state of Minnesota, and they put their fingers on the scales all the time on certain races. All the time. I agree with Hogg. I agree with these Democrats who are like, no, you cannot trust a Democrat who the first words out of their mouth are bipartisan. Bipartisan. Primary their asses. I don't care. I don't care. First of all, I don't think you're going to lose the seat. I do not think you're going to lose the seat because true democratic principles and pillars are popular ones. I do not think you're going to lose that seat. But that being said, I'd rather have a Democrat in the seat than somebody who, well, you're not going to do everything I say on all these bills, so I'm going to go over and help them do horrible things. The Republicans aren't talking about a different way to fund education. They want to kill public education. They want to kill Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. They want to give all that money to the wealthiest people. And so when I hear, and as the Republican Party, as Trump and the Republicans kill the ag sector, you acting as if, well, I'm going to vote with them because I want to appeal to the ag sector. No, they're trying to kill the ag sector. There is a time for us to realize why we have failed. And we have failed because we've let the moderates try to turn us into Republican light. It is the Matt McNeil Show.
Hey, it's Jennifer from AM 950. I'm 57, and lately I've definitely been feeling it. Lower back pain, hip aches, brain fog, and serious lack of energy. That's when I decided to try Hypercharge Wellness, and I'm so glad I did. At Hypercharge Wellness, they focus on proactive wellness and medication-free solutions to help you feel better and live healthier. Their FDA-approved light therapy helped reduce my chronic pain and inflammation, and the results have been nothing short of life-changing. My back pain and stiffness are improving, and I'm finally starting to feel like myself again. They also offer laser therapy that targets muscles and joints, perfect for injury recovery and pain management. Whether you're dealing with fatigue, chronic pain, or mental fog, Hypercharge Wellness has treatments designed just for you to boost energy, improve clarity, and reduce inflammation. Take control of your health and wellness today with their $49.99 introductory session and consultation at any of their 3 locations. Visit hyperchargeclinic.com for more information.
Hi, I'm Philip Anthony, host of the Downright Upright Show, airing right here on AM 950 Radio, Saturdays at 5 p.m. Join me as I dive into captivating conversations with people from all walks of life. As a proud member of the LGBTQ community, I celebrate diversity and beyond with unique stories that make us fantabulous. Please join me every Saturday at 5 p.m. or wherever you listen to podcasts.
I'm Dr. Stefano Sinacropi, an orthopedic spine surgeon and wellness evangelist, hosting the brand new Recharging the Human Battery show on AM 950 radio. My co-host Mandy Dickey and I will delve into various health topics ranging from medicine to nutrition to exercise, emerging technologies, and yes, some way out there stuff. Will provide a balanced view of today's landscape, helping listeners navigate its complexities and hoping to change the way you think about your health. Recharging the Human Battery airs Saturdays at 11 a.m.
When was the last time you had your roof inspected for extreme weather and hail damage? This is Chad, owner of AM 950, to talk about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If you've noticed new roofing projects in your neighborhood, your home was likely hit by hail last summer and experienced damage. Snap Construction is helping homeowners like you, and they're the roofing specialists I trust. They are the most well-reviewed contractor in the Twin Cities and have a ton of positive customer reviews from homeowners just like you. Even better, Snap Construction's installations are backed by a lifetime warranty, so you know you're dealing with a qualified roofing expert. You want to work with a company that will be here for a long time after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims and will help you through the process. Do yourself a favor and get a free roofing inspection so you have the facts and peace of mind you deserve. Call Snap Construction today at 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP. Or visit snapconstruction.com.
It is the Matt McNeil Show, 952-946-6205. Matt is in Minneapolis, wanted to chime in here. Welcome on in, Matt.
Hey, Matt. These are some really great points that you're bringing up. Got a couple points that I wanted to make. The Republicans have been moving the goalposts so far to the right that anything that would be moderate in their terms is way far of the right of what a Reagan Republican would be. So, you can't really compromise with crazy. The other thing that I wanted to bring up was I attended the NAB2 conference in D.C. a couple weeks ago, and every Republican off the record would say, we're terrified of Trump. He's going to primary us. And I would always respond and say, grow a spine and stand up to him. You know this is not right, but you're still just going along with it. And then the other part of it is that, on the Democratic side, you're absolutely correct. You can't compromise with crazy. There's no middle line with that. Ilhan had the best response throughout all the meetings that I had that was there. And she said, I cannot and I will not compromise my morals just because of an election. If I don't get elected, then so be it. I will not compromise that. And I thought that what she said was so spot on.
And Matt, I appreciate the phone call. Thank you very much, because I want to digest a little bit there. First of all, he's right. Matt is right about the fact that the starting point for Republican negotiations is the most extreme point they can. That way, they take one tiny step forward and see, I compromised. And the problem is moderate Democrats say, yeah, they're compromising. So instead of 100% of the people losing Medicaid and Medicare, only 99% are. See, they're Christians. I'm tired of that. But, one point about the Republicans, I'll say this. They could announce their retirement. If they already know, if this is so bad, if they don't like this, announce your retirement at the end of this term and make their threats moot. The problem is and he just nailed it. If you're going to wait until after you vote for this and then announce your retirement, you're not against it. You're just ashamed to be for it. And there is a big freaking difference to that. I will respect a Republican who says, by the way, FYI, this is my last term. I'm not running again next election. Oh, and I'm 100% against killing Medicaid for a tax cut. Next, they can threaten you all day long. And maybe they will try to, Elon Musk, I got all the information on you. I know who you've been calling and talking to. I'll expose all this. Maybe they will. But at the end of the day, I don't think they want to go into a special election and lose that seat potentially. So if a Republican says, you know what, I'm against this, I'm going to retire at the end of this next term, I'm not going to run again, and I'm against these things, fine. At least I'll have a level of respect for them. But if they say after the vote, it's like, well, now I'm going to retire, that's not because you actually disagreed with it. You agreed with what you're doing. You just realize now you have no chance at re-election because of what you have done. Should mention that U.S. consumer sentiment plummeted in April after Trump's trade war threw the global economy into chaos. The index of consumer sentiment score based on a monthly survey asking Americans about their financial outlooks fell by 32% since January, the largest drop since the 1990 recession. We shouldn't bury the lead here. It is way below even when the pandemic was going on. Donald Trump, we haven't had an outlook this bad for 35 years. And I was like, who was that? Oh, that's right. Another Republican was in charge. Expectations worsened for the vast swaths of the population across age, education, income, and political affiliation, said the director of surveys for consumers. Consumer perceived risk of multiple aspects of the economy, in large part due to ongoing uncertainty around trade policy and the potential for a resurgence of inflation looming ahead. So, yeah, it's plummeting right now. And only 37% of voters approve of how Trump has handled the economy so far. And trust me, that's going to get worse because there aren't trade deals coming right now. There are and the rest of the world's mentality is unless Trump undoes his tariffs he's put on us, it's not a starting point. We just talked about this with Matt. He is trying to make it seem like the tariffs he put into place just now were always there, and so they're unnegotiable. The rest of the world's like, no, that 10% tariff, that still counts. You need to undo that before we have a negotiation. China, and by the way, it is hilarious watching Trump trying to make it out. China is they've friended me on TikTok, and we're best buddies, and we're thinking of going to the Olivia Rodrigo concert together. Oh my gosh, we're so cool! And I've made my own little wristband for them, and they made one for me because we're BFFs forever. And China's like, no. You know, I believe in America. I'm very proud of my country at times. Today I saw the University of Minnesota dance team that was dancing under the USA moniker, won gold in the dance routine, and gold in one, silver in another. And there was a moment today I felt proud of my country. For that brief moment, I felt proud that there are these dancers that were out there and they're representing the United States. I'm proud of my country and I love my country. I can't stand what Donald Trump has done to this. This is the same exact feeling. If you want to know, this is the same exact feeling I have felt about my religion, Christianity. After watching these people destroy it and trample all over everything good about Christianity. They're doing the same thing now to this country. So when I look at China, you know what? I get China. I get Canada. On a lot of things, I'm on their side because, someone's this much of a jerk to you. I don't blame you. There seems to, as a person who's lived overseas, there is this mentality of Americans to think that the rest of the world is like another state, and it's not. They're different countries. They do not have to bow down to us at our convenience. And the rest of this country is not. The fact that they're getting to the point where they're starting to arrest judges, I think they're realizing they're losing control, and the next thing that comes is authoritarianism. You wonder why I started off with Doctor Who today. Chicago, Seattle, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday. Minneapolis, St. Paul, Hour 2 up next.
Women, are you ready to empower your wellness? Join Hypercharge Health and Skin Deep Aesthetics for an inspiring evening dedicated to your holistic well-being. It's Empower Your Wellness, an evening for women, happening Tuesday, May 13th from 6 to 9 o'clock p.m. at 7450 France Avenue South, Suite 240 in Edina. This exclusive event is your opportunity to explore innovative approaches to health and beauty with insights from a panel of wellness professionals. Topics include integrative medicine, personalized concierge care, hormone balance for energy and sexual wellness, aesthetics and body contouring to boost confidence, and support for your mental and emotional well-being. Come learn, connect, and take meaningful steps toward a more vibrant, empowered you. Tickets are just $75, and the full amount can be applied toward a future service. Space is limited, so don't wait. Reserve your spot now at hyperchargehealth.com or call 952-247-4785. Empower your wellness because your health, confidence, and peace of mind matter.
It's Brad Friedman, your friendly investigative blogger, journalist, and host of the Bradcast on AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
AP News. I'm Ed Donahue. Luigi Mangione pleaded not guilty in New York in the shooting death of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Here's the AP's Lisa Dwyer.
Prosecutors say they are seeking the death penalty in the federal case. Authorities say Mangione gunned down the CEO outside a Manhattan hotel on December 4th as he arrived for United Healthcare's annual investor conference. Some health insurance critics have rallied around Mangione amid frustrations over coverage denials and hefty medical bills. United Healthcare says that Mangione was never a client of theirs. While Mangione faces both state and federal murder charges, his defense team is seeking to have the federal case take precedent because it involves the death penalty. I'm Lisa Dwyer.
Former Congressman George Santos cried in court after he was sentenced on Long Island to over 7 years in prison for wire fraud and aggravated identity theft. Jody Cass-Finkel lives in what used to be Santos's congressional district.
Listening to George Santos, he blamed everybody else but himself, his mother, his father, being bullied as a child. He's still lying. My reaction in sitting in the courtroom was cry me a river.
St. Peter's Basilica has been closed in preparation of Pope Francis's funeral tomorrow. The Vatican says about 250,000 people were in line for 3 days to pass by the Pope's casket, including Matthew Donnelly from New Zealand.
He's been Pope for most of my life and obviously most of my living memory. So for me, he's inseparable from Catholicism and from my Catholic upbringing. So it's pretty important to me.
President Trump will be at the Pope's funeral. The president told Time magazine, Crimea will stay with Russia. It's a definitive statement about the need for Ukraine to cede territory to end the war. Big tech stocks carried Wall Street higher for the most part at the close. This is AP News.
Progressive knows when you own a boat or RV, it's like you're automatically on vacation, even if you're actually a marriage counselor in the middle of couples therapy. But in your mind, you're camping in Acadia, puttering around Frenchman Bay. Your boat and RV are both protected. Your lobster drenched in butter and... Uh-oh, did your clients just notice you weren't listening? Quick, do the thing where you just repeat back exactly what they said, but as a question. They bought it. Now back to Maine, earning an automatic discount bundling your boat or RV with your home or auto. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Shop the Sherwin-Williams 4-day super sale and get 40% off paints and stains April 25th through the 28th. With prices starting at $29.39, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your bedroom, living room, or home office, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
Women, are you ready to empower your wellness? Join Hypercharge Health and Skin Deep Aesthetics for an inspiring evening dedicated to your holistic well-being. It's Empower Your Wellness, an evening for women, happening Tuesday, May 13th from 6 to 9 o'clock p.m. at 7450 France Avenue South, Suite 240 in Edina. This exclusive event is your opportunity to explore innovative approaches to health and beauty with insights from a panel of wellness professionals. Topics include integrative medicine, personalized concierge care, hormone balance for energy and sexual wellness, aesthetics and body contouring to boost confidence, and support for your mental and emotional well-being. Come learn, connect, and take meaningful steps toward a more vibrant, empowered you. Tickets are just $75, and the full amount can be applied toward a future service. Space is limited, so don't wait. Reserve your spot now at hyperchargehealth.com or call 952-247-4785. Empower your wellness because your health, confidence, and peace of mind matter.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies today with a high near 60. Tonight, clear with a low around 39. And Saturday, sunny with a high around 64. Celebrate Independent Bookstore Day this Saturday at Next Chapter Booksellers, where the Twin Cities Bookstore Passport is in full swing. Get stamped at Next Chapter Booksellers and join 36 other stores offering prizes, discounts, and more. Find details at nextchapterbooksellers.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here on your Friday. Matt and Brett. I'll do some dancing a little bit later on. Why not? We should mention our producer, our coworker, Patrick. Is he alive still in Green Bay right now? I mean, he went out there to cover the draft. Have you heard anything from him? Any text, anything like this? Anything like I'm being hauled out on in a Green Bay beer ship or anything like that?
No, I haven't heard anything yet.
Well, that's not a good sign. Well, we hope Patrick's okay. He just went over there. He wanted to go to the draft. It's a lot of pageantry and show, but it's also, who is the idiot from the Packers that came out and said, Donald Trump just talked to me? I'm like, okay, great. I don't understand. Read the room. You mean all these people that are about to lose their jobs and their dairy farms? Yeah, they love Donald Trump. All right. We here drafted, and we're going to have Broadcorp on Monday. We drafted a lineman, an offensive lineman, which, by the way, can I just say, nice job. That's what you should do. That's a good thing. That is a good thing. That's a guy for 10 to 12 years. As long as his injuries don't catch up to him, 10 to 12 years, he's going to be working that position, and God bless him. Thank God. I'm looking forward to it. And there's just, usually we talk ourselves into a wide receiver or a running back. So, it's yeah. At least we're not Atlanta. God, they're horrible at drafting.
Too good at signing people either. Let's sign Kirk Cousins, then draft a quarterback.
Draft a quarterback, and now they're. By the way, I don't think Cousins is going to come back to Minnesota. A lot of people saying he could be the backup. No, I think they're going to go with Tannehill. Anyway, that's just my thought on this. I mentioned, the negative world we're living in. I just said this. A new memo from the Trump administration reveals that ICE agents have been told they can enter anyone's home without a warrant to arrest migrants based on little more than suspicion. That's why I was talking about Doctor Who. That's why I talked about this. Do you know what my happy place is if I just need to get away from the news cycle for a few minutes? Either videos about dogs, either dachshunds or shelties, because I like them both. Or Steve Harvey clips from Family Feud, because that dude is the greatest. That is the best match in the history of television of host with game show. That is, Gene Rayburn's up there with Match Game. That was good. But Steve Harvey on Family Feud is as good as it gets. That's as good as it gets. Find your happy place. Try to. This weekend, go over to Art and Bloom at MIA. I don't know how hey, sure, we'll pretend there's a gas leak in the studio. T-Wolves could win both of these home games they've got this weekend. Wild could win again on Saturday. Sure. Do not take my comments as advice on how to gamble. We might lose all three too. That's a very viable option. Anyway. Find whatever it is you want to do. Get away from this stuff. I will say, if you want to, I've already watched this. So, do you know we have the dance thing, University of Minnesota dance team, that apparently Minnesota and Ohio State face off every year, and basically they're they're kind of the two premier dance schools in the country. This year, Minnesota got the best of them, and so Minnesota became the school. Their dance team represented the USA at the International Dance and Cheer Finals, which they had today. And they've won gold in one of them, the Palms. I will post as part of the Friday link the Palms routine. It was perfect. Absolutely perfect. They got silver. I have not seen the jazz routine. They got silver, but that doesn't sound like it. They didn't necessarily bad. It sounds like Japan might have done outstanding. So if they get the jazz, the silver for jazz, they get that dance routine, I will post that one as well. I'm very proud of those teams. Of that team. I am very proud of you, because in this day and age, when it's not easy to feel pride for this country as you watch what Trump is doing to this country and the people he's hurting, not only overseas, but the vast majority of us who are definitely going to be hurt by this clown car as he violates rights left and right. It is nice to feel a little bit of pride again. A little bit, at least. University of Minnesota dance team added more glitter to its award stash on Friday. It took home the gold and the silver at the International Cheer Union World Championships in Orlando. They nailed the palm routine. The team got the gold for the finals in that category, silver in the jazz competition. Japan was Team USA's nemesis, taking the gold in jazz and silver in the palm. Mexico got third place in both categories in the final rounds. The U dancers executed a flawless palm routine, the second one of the two contests, in the pirouettes that went on and on and on. The dancers turned like they were in one entity. Wow, now we're getting into description. It's really good. How about I say it like that? It's really good. In the jazz finals, the Team USA's routine was set to the Eminem's "Lose Yourself," which the rapper made for the movie 8 Mile. The U students created a dance back in the summer of 2022, have revamped the choreography to make it even better. Japan's vertical lifts were impressive and Mexico's industrial movements sharp. Australia also showed its beautiful use of patterns. England's dancers performed eye-popping piece with lots of aerial moves and spirals. The United States got silver in that one. So there you go. University of Minnesota, USA, thank you. And nice job. Big salute to you guys. You guys deserve the credit on that. That's some tough competition. And I got to tell you, once again, I saw the palm routine. That was good. That is good. Speaking of the Vikings, this is 1,000 pounds of ugly. Former Minnesota Viking Adrian Peterson in Minneapolis for the team's draft party was arrested on suspicion of driving drunk after he was pulled over for speeding on a Twin Cities highway with 4 passengers early Friday, according to the Minnesota State Patrol. The 40-year-old former running back was spotted about 3:20 a.m. by a State Patrol trooper in Richfield driving 83 miles an hour in a 55 zone in an Audi Q5 while heading south on Highway 77 near 66th Street, said the patrol Lieutenant Mike Lee. The trooper administered a preliminary breath test in Hennepin County Jail that measured Peterson's blood alcohol content at 0.14, twice the legal limit in Minnesota. Peterson, a native of Palestine, Texas, who now lives in suburban Houston, was booked at 5:15 a.m. on misdemeanor count of 4th-degree driving while impaired. He posted $4,000 bond. A little more than 2 hours later was released. Lee said Peterson cooperated with law enforcement during the course of his arrest. 4 other people in the vehicle with him, said the lieutenant, who did not disclose their identities, were in the vehicle, I should say. The arraignment has been scheduled for May 9th in district court. The Star Tribune has left messages for Peterson seeking his response to the allegation. Court records do not list any attorney for him. Vikings officials said they were aware of the arrest but have no further comment. I'm going to point out the obvious. I know the argument for events like this is it's a great way for fans to get together. No. It feels like it's a great way for you to make a buck by hawking booze. And that's really what goes on at these things. I've been to not this event particularly, but I've been to events like this. And you have people constantly offering you, do you want to buy a $12 can of beer? 12, actually, that's pretty cheap, isn't it? It's like 15 now, isn't it, for one of those tall boys? I've talked about last year I went to a Vikes game. And what was amazing to me is that every escalator level up, there was another stand. And so in case you drank the beer from the first level up to the second level, you had another beer right there. So that if you had to do that second level to the third level, you were all set to go. And on third level, right, there's another one right there. Because, sometimes you just need to, I guess, bazooka chug beers as quickly as you can before the beginning of a football game as you sit in the upper decks. I think that this doesn't surprise me. And this is not just here. This is Vikes. I'm not going to, you're not the only one. Every team has this. My God, half the pictures of Green Bay yesterday, you could tell those boys out there were a little bit into the wind already. You can't be surprised by this. And one of the things we do not really have the same standard for bartenders as we do for sporting venues, unless it's somebody who is sloppy, fall down drunk. But the reality is, and you've been in the stands, I've been in the stands, you see some guy there who's blurry-eyed and is already kind of looking like he's barely able to sit in the chair. And he's not going to go get the beers. Someone else is going to get the beers and gives him two more. I don't know what you do about this, because it's all about making money. It's all about making money. If it wasn't, then the Vikings wouldn't be charging people to go do, roller dome in there during the winter. That's, if it was about the wellness of the people, and it's about the fan experience. No, it's about making money. You make money on ticket sales, you make money on merch sales, and you make money on beer sales and liquor sales. Now, I don't know where Peterson was coming from. We do know that he was at the draft party. We do know he was pretty damn drunk when he got pulled over. We don't know what time he left US Bank Stadium. I think that's the next question. Did he leave right from US Bank Stadium, or was he out someplace else? But we getting way too much of this sporting fan experience, which is just basically who can drink the most. And I don't know if that's necessarily a good sign of our society. One final story here to start off this hour that has to do with a fugitive who is now dead, but there was no shootout. This sounds like he died of his own actions, but not necessarily a suicide. A Minnesota fugitive on the run after being convicted in Washington County for the rape and kidnapping of his former girlfriend has died in Texas. David Powers of New Auburn, Minnesota, didn't return to court on Monday to be cross-examined by prosecutor Scott Hadelman, with an arrest warrant issued as the trial continued, resulting in his conviction for first-degree criminal sex conduct, kidnapping, and domestic assault by strangulation. Wow. And once again, just everyone out there, New Auburn, if you're wondering where that is, apparently this guy tried that in a small town. Tried that because that's out to the west of us, way out there. Small little town, side of a lake. Looked kind of cute, actually. But he apparently tried this in a small town. Do you not know? You don't do that stuff in a small town. Apparently, that's what we've been told. Anyway, first-degree criminal sexual conduct, kidnapping, and domestic assault by strangulation. Wow. Washington County Sheriff's Office confirmed in an update on Friday that Powers has died from injuries suffered when he jumped off a bridge near the San Antonio airport. Police had responded to reports of an attempted suicide in progress after drivers reported seeing someone jump from the Jones-Maltzberger Bridge. Powers was injured from the jump. So he jumps. I don't think he was jumping to try to commit suicide. I think he was jumping to try to get away. Because he jumps, was able to walk alongside the highway. Police said a driver pulled over to try to help him. Powers pulled them out of the vehicle and then assaulted them in an attempt to steal the vehicle. Officers then arrived at the scene and arrested Powers. He was taken to an area hospital via an ambulance where he then died of his injuries. Yes, I'm surprised he was able to get back upright, period, if he jumped off a bridge. They are still doing an investigation into his death. But he, by the sounds of it, okay, maybe, I don't know, maybe he did try to commit suicide, but then he didn't. And then he just said, I got to get away. How does he get down to San Antonio? Well, I mean, this was yesterday. Was this yesterday? Yeah, it was yesterday. So he left Monday. So he easily could have gotten a car, gotten down there. Or he was by the airport. Did he get on a plane? Powers' conviction meant a maximum sentence of 30 years in the first-degree sexual conduct charge, 40 years for the amended kidnapping conviction, and 3 years on the domestic assault by strangulation. Wait, what? What? Wait. You try to strangle somebody, and that's only a 3-year? Okay. I guess the other ones would have given him a pretty good time in jail, but at the same time, a little surprised that you can try to strangle someone in domestic assault and you only got 3 years on the docket there. That seems like it's a little bit light on the old punishment, but that's just me. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The guy's dead because frankly, he seemed like a real horrible person. And whether he was trying to commit suicide or he's just trying to escape the authorities and he jumped off a bridge, well, he should have talked to Wile E. Coyote before he did that, because I don't think it worked out too well for him. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. We'll take a break. Come on back. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Friday.
Greg Bakken here. I've told you about the out-of-the-world roast beef sandwiches at Maverick's Real Roast Beef, but I haven't told you about their Philly steak sandwiches, turkey bacon avocado sandwich, BLT, crispy chicken, fish sandwiches, brisket, or pulled pork. Okay, you get the idea. They make a lot of delicious food to the same standard as their famous roast beef sandwiches, and now I'm starving. I'm going to go to Maverick's Real Roast Beef off Lexington and Roseville, and you need to go too. Check out their menu at mavericksbeef.com.
Everyone wants to maximize their dollar. If you're looking for a new vehicle, the only place to go is Rudy Luther Toyota. Consumer Reports Best of 2025 edition has the most reliable vehicles as Toyotas. The Toyota Corolla, RAV4, and RAV4 Prime top the list of the most reliable cars. And Toyotas are fuel efficient, meaning less money at the pumps. Consumer Reports Best of gas mileage ranking has the Prius Camry, Corolla Cross Hybrid, RAV4 Hybrid, and the Highlander Hybrid top of their classes. Reliability and fuel efficiency, you'll find them both at Rudy Luther Toyota, 5 miles west of Minneapolis on 394.
When was the last time you had your roof inspected for extreme weather and hail damage? This is Chad, owner of AM 950, to talk about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If you've noticed new roofing projects in your neighborhood, your home was likely hit by hail last summer and experienced damage. Snap Construction is helping homeowners like you, and they're the roofing specialists I trust. They are the most well-reviewed contractor in the Twin Cities and have a ton of positive customer reviews from homeowners just like you. Even better, Snap Construction's installations are backed by a lifetime warranty, so you know you're dealing with a qualified roofing expert. You want to work with a company that will be here for a long time after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims and will help you through the process. Do yourself a favor and get a free roofing inspection so you have the facts and peace of mind you deserve. Call Snap Construction today at 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP. Or visit snapconstruction.com.
Texting and driving is very serious. Remember, safe driving is everyone's responsibility. Put the phone down. Don't text and drive. This message is courtesy of Home and Earth Craftsmen, where they're redefining quality craftsmanship for the place that we call home. Visit them online at homeandearthcraftsman.com or call 612-718-7091. 612-718-7091. That's Home and Earth Craftsman. On the air, reminding everyone to never text and drive.
It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Friday. Good to have you with us. Okay, so I've got what is kind of a little bit out of left field as far as an update on the death of the U.S. border cop in Vermont, David Milland, who was a Minnesota native at one point. We remember we had that story out. We were talking about that. And, you know, it was a shootout with two people. The one person was dead, and there was another person, a woman there, that was part of the shootout. So I started reading this, and I'm like, okay, this sounds weird. And all of a sudden, this comes back. I mean, this is, I think, either the Guardian or the Independent. A member of the radical vegan group known as the Zizians, Zizians. You know anything about this? You ever hear anything like this?
Yeah, I can't say I've heard of them.
Zizians, Zizians, has insisted she and her friends are not a murder cult. Okay, if you have to come on out, this is we're now getting into the category of the candidate for the Delaware Senate who's like, I'm not a witch. You know, if you actually have to get up to the point, you're